Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Grab yourselves a coffee, a snack. We're gonna be here for a while because today we are gonna be debuting the Chanel new 9-pan palette. I picked up the Space Traveler for those of you who have not seen me feature this on my shorts yet. I picked this one up. I thought it was the most wearable and the one that I felt that I would get the most use out of. Each one of these retails for $160, which is comparable to Chanel's prices. Now, this has never been done before. This is a first of its kind. Chanel has never done a 9-pan palette. So you know I was gonna pick it up. I'm a huge fan of Chanel. I've been using them for years, and I was very curious to see what this formula was gonna bring us. There's a lot of iridescent shades. You guys know that's my Achilles tendon in the beauty space. Anything iridescent, it's like a moth to a flame. Okay, I can't help it. It's at this point it's like impulsive, you know. Anyways, besides this, I just want to go over really quick. I also did pick up the quad, the 397 limited edition Nuit Astral quad. This is part of their holiday drop. I'm gonna do a separate video featuring this quad, but I just wanted to go over what I actually picked up from the line. I also picked up one of the Rouge Allure Lacs. I do like this formula from Chanel, and I picked up 559 Nebulous. This is the purple one. You guys know I was gonna pick up the purple one. That fuchsia pink is not a color that complements me well. I'm gonna use this for you guys on camera in this video today, so I'm not gonna swatch it just yet because I wanna swatch the palette first. Let's really quick go over what's on my face for those of you who do not like going to the description box. I have the Glossier foundation on. If you use me for color reference, I'm using Light 2, and this is their Stretch Fluid Foundation. This is just the foundation that I have up in my rotation project pan for this year, and you can see that I have used quite a bit. Another reason why I do like letting you guys know what I have on my face is because a lot of you love to see my project pan products and the progress I've made. For highlight, I have this Natasha Denon Pastel Plexi Glow Highlighter. And you guys, also part of Project Pan, look at that. I've already reached pan, but look at what amazing progress I'm making. For bronzer, I am using this limited edition Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow palette. This is in the light medium color shade, but the little contour shade I'm still getting quite good use out of. It has not hard panned, so the little dome brush that I use to get this product is doing a really good job at picking up all that product around the pan without messing up the bristles. And this is exactly why Charlotte Tilbury's beauty brand does so well year after year. Yes, dude, the product is always pillow talk, it's always the same shades, yes, but the problem is that the stuff that she does have is solid. This has not crumbled, okay? This has not hard panned at all. Her products are solid, and people know that they can rely on them, and that's why she's so successful. That's all I'm gonna say. You know how many times I repurchased this palette? This is probably like the third one of these I've gone through, or for the fourth one, okay? Next up, for my blush, I'm using Chanel's blush in 260 Alezane. This is the original formula, the Chanel's original blush formula, and this was part of my project pan this year. And I'm really excited that I've been able to use this up. Again, this is exactly why people were so obsessed with Chanel's original powder formula blush, because look how much I've used. This is not crumbled, it has not broken up, it blends like a dream. I digress. And for finishing powder, I have this Bareminerals Mineral Veil. I already finished using the shade Diamond Light that was in here, but I had one of those deluxe samples that Ulta sometimes gives you with like gift with purchase when you purchase on their site. I actually decanted that in here because that vessel is a little too small for what I use it for. So I use my mineral veil to set my entire face. I don't use it in targeted areas. And so I require a larger brush. And that smaller cap, it's just too hard for me to get the job done quickly. So I just decant it into a bigger one. You can see there. And I'll leave this on my vanity and I'll just use it up, and that way I ensure I use every little drop of my makeup. Let's get into this video so that you are aware. I have brought all of my BK Beauty brushes. Again, this is the first time Chanel has done a palette like this. They are not known for duochromes. They're not known for shifty shades. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're not in that Natasha Denona, Danessa Myricks realm. So I don't know what to expect, and therefore I brought them all, okay? Because I don't want to keep getting up to find new brushes. So when you purchase this, it's gonna come in a sleeve like this. And then you get this beautiful box. It is substantial, by the way. It's not like a cheap box. And then on the inside, you're gonna have your palette. And then you're left with this. You can remove this insert and keep the box, which I obviously am gonna plan to do. If there's one thing I repurpose a lot, are they Chanel boxes. They are great quality and they last a really long time. Everything came packaged in a box like this with the ribbon and the camellia. For those of you who like this part of the video, these were the samples I got. I got a La Volume de Chanel mascara, which is actually my favorite mascara from them. The Sublimage La Creme Ultimate Texture Supreme, and the Hydra Beauty Micro Essence. I actually have bought a full-size bottle of this and used it. I actually do like this product. I use it as a toner, and it does a good job at balancing and just prepping my skin for whatever other serums I want to apply. When you open up this palette, you get a large mirror. And I brought my blush because I wanted you guys to see what a typical sized quad looks like next to this, okay? Actually, I'm just gonna use the one from the holiday. So this is the Nuit Astral, right? Look, for size reference, look how much bigger this is. It's like probably twice or a little bit more than twice the size. I'm sorry for the glare. So it is a very big palette. It is weighty. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. So it's definitely, you can feel that the package was well made to house these shadows. When you open this up, you have a little protector for your shadows. And then this is what you get. Now, I don't see any shade names on here. They're just labeled in numbers, like 1 through 9. So what I'll do is I'll kind of just show you each shade as I go, because I'm assuming that they're numbered 1 through 9 if you're looking at the palette like this. But I'm not here to confuse you guys, you get what I'm saying? I'm here so that you guys can recreate this look, find some inspiration, and use this palette if you bought it. All the things. I have primed my lids with my Bareminerals Prime Time primer. This is actually a good primer. I like it. I just wish there was more product in here. All right, so I did bring my favorite brush from BK Beauty. This is the A505. This is a collaboration with Angie Hot and Flashy. This brush I actually have bought 2 singles or 3 singles of. I've lost count at this point. This is great for picking up chunky shimmery shades like these. That gives you a soft effect. It will not give you a very high pigmented effect like if you were using your finger. I'm going to do one look as kind of like an everyday office appropriate look, and then on this side I'm going to do something very dramatic, very glam, so we can see a little bit of versatility with this product. Had these palettes not been as expensive as they were, I probably would have picked up another one, but I would have probably been the one that has that green and red shade. The green palette looks very retro and I love greens. Unfortunately, that's just not a color that I wear often, so I was not gonna get much use out of that. And I'm definitely not in the camp of buying stuff I'm not gonna use. You guys know I take my project pan really seriously here, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off doing just the everyday, like office appropriate look. And again, because I don't know how pigmented these products, these eyeshadows are gonna be, I'm going to start off with my 211 brush. It is a smaller domed brush, kind of, you know, just the right size for my socket. I'm gonna bring you guys in a little closer so you can actually see what's happening. I'm gonna dip into this lighter brown shade right here that has almost like a soft pink terracotta to it. It's lovely. I want to see how this is going to translate onto my skin. For some reason, my particular skin tone doesn't do the best with terracotta shades, so we're gonna wing this. I love the giant mirror in this palette. I have to say, if there's one thing I truly enjoy about larger palettes, is the large mirror. It's very convenient. So I barely dip my brush in there and it's quite pigmented. A lot more pigmented than what we're used to from the typical Chanel formula. So again, that's why, although I've used Chanel for years, this is a one of a kind. This has never been done before. And I assumed correctly it was gonna be a different kind of formula than what we're used to. I figured this was gonna be a lot more pigmented. It was gonna be a little bit more in your face, so I was correct. Tread with caution, dip your brush in lightly is all I can say. So we're gonna use this as a beautiful transition shade. And then I'm gonna use what's left on the brush and I'm going to diffuse it downward to the rest of the lid. And just keeping it halfway. Just diffusing everything downward. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more. Kind of just setting a base for everything. Then I'm gonna go in with a smaller crease brush. This is the Angie A504 crease brush. See how tiny that is? I'm gonna go into that deeper brown shade here in the corner. And I'm gonna add a little bit of depth to the socket. So I very lightly did my brush, but you can see it's very pigmented. There's no scent in this palette, for those of you who are wondering. Usually Chanel products are scented, but this palette has no scent. It doesn't have that Chanel rosy kind of scent. I'm gonna go in with a clean, fluffy brush, the 212. And then I'm just going to diffuse this. Just soften it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna go in with this gold shade right here. And we're gonna use our trusty A505. This particular gold shade, I'm gonna concentrate on the outer half of my lid. I'm very excited to see how this is gonna apply. And of course, we're gonna be doing swatches, so. Wow. That's really pretty. You guys seeing that? This has, it's gold, but it almost has like a slight orange red shift. It's beautiful. Okay, wow. Stunning. I'm gonna pick up another one of my A505. Like I said, I have a lot of these. And I'm gonna go in to the very first shade in this quad. This has this is definitely a duochrome. It has like a green, bronze, red, gold, almost like fuchsia a little bit kind of shift. I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna put it on the inner corner to meet that other shade. Wow. You guys, this is beautiful. I'm actually impressed. I'm impressed. I'm not gonna lie. I love Chanel, but I almost didn't think that this was something that they were going to be able to achieve well without the formula being dusty and like getting a ton of fallout. They did it well. And you guys know that I'm a hard critic when it comes to luxury beauty brands. But I give credit where credit's due, and they did a magnificent job with this palette. So as you can see, if you use a brush like this, although these eyeshadows are very bright and in your face, you can get a soft kind of look with it. Next, I am going to use a liner brush. I'm gonna use this navy blue. This is another duochrome. It has a lavender purple shift to it, and the base is like a very deep marine navy blue. It's actually a lot deeper than what the camera is showing you, because when I hold the palette up, natural light is hitting it. There you go. That's a little bit better. So it is quite a deep shade, and I'm using the 208 liner brush. I just want you to see how tiny this is. I'm gonna start with this because again, I don't know, you know, how deep or how flashy this is gonna appear on the lid. All the motorcycles in the neighborhood decided that they were gonna go out today at the same time. Yeah. So sorry about the background noise. So I'm just dragging that on the outer corner of my eye. It's definitely buildable. That's 2 layers of that color. I'm not seeing fallout. You can look at the pan. There is a little bit of kick up, but not too much. I mean, it's doing a really, really good job. So far, I'm very impressed, okay? I'm going to go ahead and leave this like this because again, this is like the office appropriate look. I'm gonna apply some of my Bareminerals mascara and then we'll get started on the other eye. That is your work appropriate look. It's really not hard to achieve truly with this particular palette. If you really analyze it, you have a lot of, you know, neutral tones. You got 2 browns here, you've got a gold, a black, and you've got this bronzy, like shimmery shade that can work with a lot of different tones. And as you can see, this color here actually is a lot deeper than what one would expect. Now let's do the glam look on this eye. I'm gonna go straight into the blue, this cobalt blue shade. But the first thing I wanna do is I wanna use a small crease brush, A502, and I wanna apply a tiny bit of this black right here into the crease. So again, I'm like just lightly tapping that brush. I'm just trying to add a little bit of depthness because once I apply this blue, I don't want to go over it with anything else. I really want it to shine. So I just want to apply that black first. And I'm actually just blending it in downward strokes because I want to be super careful that I don't pass the socket. This right here is my brow bone. And black is just one of those shades that you have to be super careful with when you're using it in this way. And I'm using a minuscule amount. I'm using tapping motions just to, again, I'm being, just to be careful that I don't pass that line, which you guys know I'm notorious for doing. Like, I don't know what happens when I see shimmers. It's like I lose all self-control. When I see iridescent shimmery shades like that, I have no self-control. Of course I picked up the Natasha Myris palette. Come on, guys. Come on. You guys know I was gonna get that. You were thinking it. I know you were thinking it. You're like, oh, does that mean you picked up the new Natasha Myris palette? Sure as heck did. Sure as heck did. Okay, so I've laid that base and I've diffused it inward, okay? I already know how this goes. For some reason, I don't have a lot of space in between my socket and my actual brow bone. If I were to do the sweeping motions or the circular motions, that would have been a hot mess. So I'm gonna go in with the 212 brush. This is the clean brush that I've been using to soften the edges. And just softening those edges, making sure that everything is, you know, cohesive. Now I want to go into that blue shade and I'm going to try and see if the 202 brush that I have here will work for what I'm trying to do with this blue shade, because this is one of those shifty shades that it's a little chunkier, so I don't really know if it's gonna work the way that I want it to. Again, I'm gonna go in lightly. Whoa, okay. And I went in super light, but already you can see how much pigment has already been deposited. Again, using downward strokes just to make sure that any flakiness does not come out of this area. All right, now I can use those circular motions, kind of just spread that out. That is a stunning shade. And I'm diffusing the blue downwards now, because I'm gonna be using these shades up here, and I want there to be a slight overlay of that blue. Wow, isn't that lovely? Just look at that shade. It has so many things going on. It's not just a blue. Okay. I'm going to use a brush first, and then I'll go in with a finger, just so that you guys can see how these shades work both ways. Again, using an A505 brush. What is it, like my third one? And I'm gonna go in to that lilac shade right here in the center. And the way that I'm dipping a brush like this, for those of you who don't know, that's flat like this, into these shades, I'm not wiggling the brush. I'm doing sweeping motions. If you wiggle the brush, you are going to get a lot of kick up. Unnecessary product is going to come out of that pan, and it's wasteful. So don't wiggle the brush, use sweeping motions, and it does help you control how much you're getting. So I'm going to use the lilac in the center of the eye. I wanted to meet up with the blue. And then I'm using whatever's left on my brush to fill in this area here. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more. This is buildable, and I'm impressed how all these shades work so well together. Okay, then I'm gonna go in with, you guessed it, another A505 brush. I'm gonna go into the white iridescent shade there, and we're gonna apply that to the inner portion of the eye. And again, I'm blending it into that lilac. I'm overlapping them so that it all, I don't want to see a separation between the colors. I want them to morph into each other, blend into each other. Absolutely stunning. Next, I'm gonna go in with, this is the BK Beauty 204 smudger brush, and I'm going to layer the black and the blue on top of each other because I want a more dramatic eyeliner. for this. Before I do that, I'm gonna use a finger to apply these shades so you guys can see how much more pigment you get if you use a finger with these iridescent kind of shades in the palette. I'm gonna go into the lilac shade first. So you can see that when you use a finger, you pick up a lot more product. I'm gonna place that on the center. Yeah, you get a lot more drama when you use a finger. I wanna know if when you use a finger, if you can layer it. That's another good question to ask. Yeah, you can layer it. Let me see the fallout. So if you want a lot more drama, you know, obviously use your finger to pick up those shades. I'm gonna go in, I'm just trying to see. I think that I'm gonna go in with my pointer into the white shade. Oh yes, very dramatic. So, you know, very much like using these same type of shades in any other palette. If you go in directly with a finger, you're gonna get a lot more drama. I'm gonna go into that black, that matte black shade, again with the 204 brush, and I'm gonna stamp it on the outer corner of the eye. And then I'm gonna slowly bring it in and diffuse it into the center of the eye. Okay, then I'm gonna go in again to that bright cobalt blue shade. And I'm going to stamp it over. And if you're wondering why I didn't use the navy blue shade, it's because the cobalt blue doesn't have that purple shift that the navy blue has. They have different undertones, so you're gonna get a different effect when dealing with that. I wanna keep the cobalt blue because it's more cohesive to what we've done here. I'm just using tapping motions. I am not dragging this on my lid. Again, that's to prevent any kind of fallout or skipping. Skipping is like when you get skid marks across the eyelid. For those of you who are new and are just starting to, you know, do makeup, this stuff I wish was explained to me when I first started doing makeup. But it was like this thing that I guess people just assumed you knew. No, a lot of people do not. So you can see that I've created that beautiful, the blue still shines, but you can see there's that extra depthness to it that just brings the whole look together. Let me apply some mascara and I'll be back. This is the dramatic eye. And then this is the work appropriate. I think that they did a good job at doing something different. I feel like we've all been asking for something different from Chanel, and iridescent shades are really big right now, you know, all that stuff. And I think they did a really good job at doing iridescent shades, doing something different, but still keeping that Chanel DNA. I actually like this formula. I think they did an amazing job, and I'm gonna get a ton of use out of this palette. I hope this is not the last time they do a 9-pan palette. I think this was really fun. And as far as price goes, as somebody who's been purchasing Chanel for years, this price did not surprise me. honestly. It's very comparable to what they usually charge. Chanel is a beauty brand that I actually like. Their formulas are solid. They do a really good job at giving you a very chic, elegant, diffused look. This Chanel is not going to be one of those brands where if you really like Danessa Myricks, you like Natasha Denona, you like that high impact glam. That's not what Chanel's going to give you. Chanel's going to give you really high sophistication in a look that you can wear anywhere. It's like timeless. That's like their aesthetic. It's timeless. It's going to be less pigmented. Take into account what your makeup style is before you drop $160 on something that may not be your style. So as somebody who loves Natasha Denona, I love Danessa Myricks, but I love Chanel. I love the aesthetic of the brand. I love their formulas, but I am the first one to tell you when something is not at par with this brand. And you guys know I have reviewed products recently that I've been very salty about, because if I'm gonna pay a lot of money for something, it needs to perform. It needs to be perfection. I'm paying luxury prices for luxury formulas. I'm not gonna give them a pass just because I'm a fan or because I love their product, you know, but this was done well. And I am so happy I was able to get my hands on it. This is absolutely wonderful. Now let's talk about the lippy I picked up. So this is 559 Nebulous, and then we'll get into the swatches, okay guys? It comes in a glass bottle, and you can see the color on the bottom. You guys see how that color is peeking through right at the bottom? You guys see that? So it's painted black on the inside, I think, right? I don't even know. It's ombreed out all the way here, and that's where you can see the color. You get the beautiful CCs on the top. I have a lot of these lacs. I like this formula. It doesn't dry out my lips at all. I love that it's a glass packaging, very luxurious. I had to pick up this shade. I obviously would not necessarily use this lip color with this palette, but for example, if I'm doing this look here, then this would be fine. Why not? But if you're using more of the warmer tones, then obviously, you know, just use something else. You get the doe foot applicator here, and this on me looks beautiful if I just use one layer, which is whatever you take out on the wand. Do not, if I don't double dip, we're good. If I double dip, which I'll show you, it becomes a little too vampy for me. This has micro shimmers that are not gritty at all. This is perfect for the fall season. But like, for example, just picture that for a second. A night out. Love that. Obviously, you know, not so much here, but I love this. Do keep in mind, these do not fully set. You can still move them around the lips. It's a great formula. It's not gonna dry out your lips, but it is gonna give you that matte effect, but without looking crusty. It does a really good job at wearing off softly and evenly as you drink or you eat. It's not gonna flake off in patchy ways like most matte formulas do. It has an iridescence to it, so the sparkles on here are a fuchsia kind of sparkle. So you can see I can still move my lips around. This does not sink into fine lines. It does not accumulate. It does not run. It's not completely transfer proof, so I'll show you. You can see. You get a little bit, not too much, but it's a stunning formula, honestly. And I can continue to just move it around, but it's beautiful. And you can actually apply less than this. I'm gonna show you. Okay, I took that off and I'm going to apply an even lighter layer. And I love the tip of this wand. I'll show you guys in a second. It does a really good job at getting into the Cupid's bow and lining the lips. So this is even a lighter layer. Here's the dome applicator. Do you see how it points at the top, but it's still rounded? Very helpful when using darker formulas like this. This is extremely vampy. So I'm now gonna show you how dark this actually becomes, which I think is gonna be perfect for those of you with deeper skin tones. And I can even go darker. So yes, this very versatile shade. You can wear as little or as much as you want. One layer is more than enough. For me, it wears beautifully, beautifully throughout the day. Let's talk about the fallout. You can see that, not with this look, but with this one that was more dramatic and I did use my finger, you can see there's fallout all here. I mean, nothing that like a clean brush isn't going to swipe away if you do it immediately. Do I love this formula? Yes. Do I think the palette was worth the $160? Yes. That's my personal preference. I have a long history with this brand and I love their formulas. So for me, I was okay with paying the $160. This has an 18-month shelf life for those of you who are wondering, and it's made in France. All right, let's get into these swatches. So swatching in order from right to left. Here are the top 3 shades right here, and then that first shade in the second row. I know a lot of you like to see the finger swatch before I apply it. Okay, here are the next 4 shades. This is the finger swatch. These colors remind me of the solar system, the planets. I'm sure that's kind of like what they were going for, you know, space traveler. I get it now. I do have to say, these shades do not swatch that great. And this is exactly why we can't judge a palette by how it swatches, because every single one of these shades performed beautifully on the lid and they were easy to blend. But they're not the best on the swatches, especially the matte shades. And now the last shade we have to swatch is that black shade. Here's the black shade. And actually this black shade, not too bad. Usually black shades are super difficult to get to swatch evenly. But here you go. It is much better than the other mattes in this palette. I am so happy that I feel like I'm living a part of history almost with this beauty brand, because I don't think I've ever been a part of a brand who has done something revolutionary for the very first time like this, you know. It's not that it's a 9-pan palette. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the type of shades that are in here. As somebody who's been using them for a very long time, I'm not gonna age myself, just know it's a long time. I haven't seen them ever do iridescent shades like this, and iridescent shades and like shades like this have existed for a really long time, and I have always wanted them to do something like this, and I am so happy that they did and that they nailed it, you know, because if I want Natasha Denona, I buy Natasha Denona because I'm getting the Natasha Denona DNA. If I want Danessa Myricks, I'm paying for the Danessa Myricks DNA. There's an aesthetic that each brand has. With Chanel, I do not think that these shades are the same as like a Natasha Denona or Danessa Myricks. I think that each formula is unique in and of itself, and if you've used it, you understand what I'm saying. This palette and this color story is what we wanted, right? Like we wanted a little bit of that like oomph, you know, that different cool shades. That they did it and they still gave us that Chanel DNA, because at the end of the day, that's what we're paying for. We're paying for that Chanel name, which is the Chanel that Chanel aesthetic. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you picked up these palettes, leave me a question down below. I want to know which one you picked up, if you love it. If you want to see more looks using this palette, I will do so. The next video I'm going to be uploading is using the 397 Nuit Astral. So go ahead and stay tuned for that. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. That's the only other social media platform I'm currently on. And with that, I leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.